up, everybody? Bobby here, the Geek Guru. Geek, definitely guru. I don't know. So, a little while ago, like last week, I did a video about some upcoming games or some launch title games that I really wanted to see Nintendo come out with that I felt like would help with the purchase power behind the NX and help the NX in the launch. Part of that was EA, you know, and when I had a conversation with TOBY and ALLAN, they both were basically like, hey, look, Nintendo, for the NX to be perfect and work, they got to get the support of third parties. And I felt like, in my talking to them guys, was like, hey, if you build it, they will come, you know, to borrow a catchphrase from Field of Dreams. It was more or less like, hey, if Nintendo can build its infrastructure, get the system in people's hands by doing a solid launch, that it would bring the third parties. Lo and behold, today we get news that from Liam Robertson. He's done a lot of articles for Unseen64. He's been tied closely to Nintendo Life lately. He does a lot of stuff on Twitter. Alan Paxton, my buddy Alan, contacted me and TOBY today and we're like, listen, this just came out on Twitter from Liam, but there's more to the story than what Liam originally tweeted. Now we find out exactly what it was. There's some information that came out and it was more or less like EA's playing hardball with Nintendo, and that seems to be the way the article on Nintendo Life reads now, is saying that EA is kind of like, they want to build this brand again with Nintendo, work together again, but they need Nintendo to do some things. A couple of those things are they need them to do advertising during big sporting events, because they feel like the Wii U and other Nintendo consoles didn't have that power to purchase through the sports fans. You know, it was more or less like, you know, you're Nintendo fans, and that goes to a lot of stuff that a lot of companies have said, like Ubisoft basically saying like, hey, Nintendo fans don't buy third-party games. In a whole, for the majority, they don't. There are a few of us, like myself, like TOBY, like Alan, you know, like my buddy Frank Clark, and you know, the list goes on. And in the NVC Nintendo group, there's a lot of guys there that buy third-party games. A lot of them feel slighted by the third-party games we got with the Wii U. But that we have all always stated, like, if you give us solid third-party games, we will jump aboard. We will get on board and we will play these games. But when you give us delayed and old, you know, third-party ports, it kind of wavers. Anyway, so EA is basically telling Nintendo, like, hey, if you do more advertising during like the Super Bowl and the World Series and things like that, then we'll be more susceptible to work with you hand in hand. Dev kits were already apparently given a little while ago, which hopefully bodes well, means that like EA and the dev teams are actually getting in there and looking at it and saying, hey, we can work with this, we can't work with this, this is what it's going to cost us to port these games over. Hopefully it's very similar, like as we said before, with the PS4 and the Xbox One, so this way it will port smoothly and go smoothly. Fingers crossed. We don't know for sure yet until the actual launch, which takes me to next month. EA is supposed to sit down and have a meeting with Nintendo, numerous meetings, to talk about how they can work this relationship together and get things moving in the right direction. Leads me to another thing that EA is doing with the hardball, is basically they're saying like, we want bundles. You know, in the past, Nintendo didn't bundle with any third parties. It was always, you know, basically Smash or Splatoon or Mario Kart or Super Mario Galaxy or whatever games they had at the time would be their bundles. Where if you look at, you know, Sony or Microsoft, they're more susceptible to do like a Madden bundle or a FIFA bundle or something like that, which would be good for Nintendo fans if Nintendo kind of worked with the third parties and said, hey, we'll do a, you know, a Mass Effect bundle, or, you know, a Battlefront bundle or something, you know, like that's what Sony did, and that sold a lot of units for Sony and sold a lot, you know, it helped. Don't get me wrong, Sony didn't need no help selling PS4s, you know what I mean, but it helps, you know, it helps when fans go and they go, you know, I'm going to buy this. Here's an example. PS4, I wanted one. I held out because I had a gut feeling they would do an Arkham Knight one. Huge Batman fan, and I'm like, listen, I can wait a year for this thing to come. Sure enough, they put it out, I get it, that's when I buy my PS4. There's probably Star Wars fans out there that would go, you know what, I want an NX, I can get this great bundle, I can get this great game, and this cool looking console. So it does kind of tie together, and hopefully that's the plan they're working on. The other thing that they're saying is that they want Nintendo to offer different packages within the NX, like MLB Baseball and WWE Network and NFL and all these different packages that apparently that Sony and Microsoft are offering their, you know, their fan base. They want Nintendo to do the same, which I'm all for. Like, yes, please. So I'm kind of excited that EA is playing hardball with Nintendo. Don't get me wrong. I don't like the fact and the idea of, you know, an EA kind of bullying Nintendo around, but let's be honest. Many years, Nintendo bullied the third parties around. I think it's time to swallow the pill, take your hard medicine. You know, you may not like the taste of it, Nintendo, but please just sit down and listen to these guys and do what they're asking, because I think it bodes well for the fans. A healthy, prosperous Nintendo is good for all. And you know, if they're selling a lot of units and we get, all us Nintendo fans, we get a lot of good things. Think about it. When consoles sell, when Nintendo consoles sell, we get a lot of first-party games that we wanted. Look at the Wii. The Wii sold, what, 124 million units, give or take, right around that number. We got all kinds of stuff. You know, we got 2 Metroids. We got 2 Zeldas. We got 3 Mario games. You know, we got Galaxy 1, Galaxy 2, plus New Super Mario Bros. U, or New Super Mario Bros. We got all these different games multiple times. We got another Punch-Out. We got all these games. If Nintendo moves consoles, they're going to throw everything at it. We, as fans of the series, we want this. We need this. So we need these two to work together and hopefully work well together. Hopefully they pull Activision in, get them more in sync, things like that. Like, I would like to see them start to pull Ubisoft back in and not just give us, like, we know they're not doing an Assassin's Creed in 2016 now, but to do like The Division or something like that, like give us good, solid games. I'm all for it. But the thing I gotta say is to the fans, support the third parties. Nintendo needs you now more than ever. If you have your option of where you're gonna buy, and you are buying an NX, you know, throw support to the third parties. They deserve it. They're working hard on these games and all that stuff. I try my best to support third parties on Nintendo franchises, on Nintendo consoles as well. I try to support the indie scene always on Nintendo consoles. You guys know that I'm a big indie fan. I love indie games, and I always try to support the indie scene as much as I can. That's kind of third party, so you want to try to help those guys, plus the EAs and all that stuff. There we go. I'm excited for this. I've been wanting a Madden game on a Nintendo console for a very long time. You know, I'm used to playing my Maddens on Nintendo consoles. You know, I played them on PlayStation as well for many years, but I also, you know, in the early goings, that was where I learned all that stuff, and I would like to go back and do that stuff and play FIFA on there and all that, and so I'm all for it. But I'm hoping that because of this, that things sell well and do well, and then at some point we start to get the Battlefronts. And you got to remember, Star Wars is a huge franchise, and EA has the license. So we need the EA games to sell well, so that way they go, hey, these other games are selling well, let's throw some stuff that we know will sell well. Come on. Star Wars will sell well. So that is all. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this quick video. I just wanted to kind of comment on what I just heard today, and I'm really excited for the news. So that is all. Follow me, Instagram, Twitter, at the Geek Gurus. Peace, mother